Hello, everybody. Welcome to Candidates Corner from Greater Seattle Korean Association. We are very pleased to have Lin Yang with us today. Hello, Lin. How are
Thanks
you?
for having me.
Great. Lin is running for Sammamish City Council. I'll let him talk, but just a quick disclaimer. This is not an endorsement from Korean Association, but rather Candidates Corner is so that you, the voter, can learn more about our candidates. A lot of times they don't know like who to vote for. And so we hope to do that digitally and then broadcast so that you can get to know who Lin and our candidates are. So Lin, we're just very curious to know, just tell us a little bit about your background. Yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Yeah, my background is I am the first candidate who grew up in Sammamish to run for city council. I graduated from Eastlake High School in 2001. And then after I graduated from high school, I ended up going to Cornell University for my undergraduate. And I also have a master's in public policy from Harvard, as well as an MBA from UCLA. After college, I actually spent 2 years as a public school math teacher. I did a program called Teach for America, and I served as a math teacher in a region of the United States called the Mississippi Delta. And then after my Harvard degree, I spent about 3 years working in the Asia Pacific region as a journalist, writing for numerous publications, including the New York Times. Sammamish is a really, really special community to me, and it goes back to when my family actually first moved there. My mother was a single mother and she raised me in a community, but she did not do it alone. The community came together and supported us and allowed my mother and me to thrive. We were talking about neighbors coming in to help out with yard work, to cook us dinner if my mother was too busy to do it myself, or even to pick me up from school, right? That's the kind of community that Sammamish is when people come together to help each other. And because of how amazing that community is, I decided 6 years ago to move home. I bought my mother's house, and now I'm raising my own two little girls, a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old, in the community that raised me. I am very, very interested in making sure that my community continues to thrive, especially for young families, for seniors, as well as for young people and the youth of our community. And that's the main reason why I'm running for city council.
Okay. So that was going to be my next question,
Yeah.
Lin, is that can you expand upon that a little bit more? Like, what are the main reasons why you decided to run?
Yeah. Well, the one unique thing about Sammamish is, our community is a relatively new city, and we have a lot of gaps as a community, things that other cities have that we don't. But one thing I've always noticed is that when we have these gaps, people come together and fill them. And I've actually had a little bit of experience of that myself. When I was in high school, I actually started the first commission in the city called the Sammamish Youth Board. It was the Youth Advisory Commission, and it was an organization that's part of City Hall that advises the City Council on what young people want in the city. About 6 years ago, after I became a journalist and I came back home, one thing I realized is that our community lost our local newspaper. We didn't have any source of information for our local citizens. And so kind of leveraging my journalism skills, I ended up founding the Sammamish Independent, which is our local digital newspaper. And over the last 5 years, I've trained over 100 high school students to become reporters, providing information about everything from elections to community events to new businesses that are opening in our community, and really serving that information gateway. And I think that's what happens in Sammamish, is you see that with groups like PTSA, Sammamish Stewards. It's all these citizens coming in to fill the gap. And that's the reason why I'm running for city council, is I actually do see a lot of gaps in our community that I really want to fill. One of the things that I see is especially on the diversity of housing and our housing stock. We're a city that's predominantly single-family homes, and really, really expensive single-family homes at that. And it is not really conducive to everyone who lives in our city. For instance, if you are a senior and you're an empty nester and your kids are gone, you want to downsize, but there's nowhere to downsize to in Sammamish. Same thing with children who come back from college and are starting out in their job. Most of them are living at home because there are no apartments or condos for them to move into, right? So I think having a diverse housing stock, especially more affordable housing, is absolutely critical to accommodate the people in our community at all stages of life, right? I want our community to be conducive to people at all stages, not just a family with children, for instance. Another thing I really want to talk about is commercial and retail space. We don't have any in our community, and having more commercial retail not only makes it more convenient for our residents in order to get services, but it also builds and diversify our tax base so that we're not so reliant on property taxes to fund everything. Right now, all of our residents go to other towns like Redmond and Issaquah to, go out to eat, to shop, and those towns make our sales taxes, right? And I really want to keep more of that tax money in Sammamish. And then the last thing I really want to do is there's this building in Sammamish that's used to be Central Washington University that's completely empty right now. And what we really need in our community is a space to gather, a true community center. Other cities have community centers. Some cities like Redmond have multiple. In Sammamish, we don't have a single one. That building has enough space to put in a teen center, a senior center, as well as meeting space for our locally based nonprofits and event space for festivals like Chinese New Year's or Diwali or Holi and festivals like that. And so I really want to turn that building into a community center. In the grand scheme of things, if you put all of my ideas together, it's about building a community. It's about providing our community the resources so that everyone can thrive and that we can build a great place that we can, grow our families and allow our children to enjoy.
Awesome. Awesome, Lin. And lastly, very quickly, if elected, what do you think, just kind of hit the ground running? It's kind of on your platform, yeah.
Yeah, well, I ended on the community center, and I'm going to start with the community center. I think that is something that we can absolutely do and actually ask the council to work with the community to figure out what should go into the community center and how we should fund it. That's priority number one. The second priority is one thing I really want to do is kind of take a look and revamp the way our city communicates with our residents. There have been a few incidents over the last year where the communication that the city has had hasn't been entirely transparent and has been provided in a negative light, and I really want to change that. I want city communications to be not only action oriented but also solution and results oriented. And if the city actually presents the community with a problem, I want to show that the city is actively working to solve that problem. And so you're going to be looking at, new ways in which the city does its newsletter, its social media, and its public communications so that we are working more in collaboration with the residents in our community. And then the final thing I want to do is something that's near and dear to my heart. I feel like in our community, we don't have a lot of opportunities for youth to get real world job experience. So the one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to task the city with starting a public service internship program for high school students so that high school students can get real world experience of how government works and work on a real project for our city government and our city council so that they can get that experience. One thing that we know from our current political environment is that we need talented people working in government, right, in order to make our democracy and our society function. And that's something that I'm really committed to, and I want to start it very young with the youth and the next generation to be very committed to public service.
All right, there you have it, Lin Yang. Thank you very much, Lin, for joining us. Thank you, everybody, for listening in.
Thanks for having me.
All right, do you want to do 감사합니다? Thank you. 감사합니다.
감사합니다.
감사합니다.